Good morning. Welcome. We begin our time together in song. Please join me in singing Morning Has Come by Jason Shelton. Make sure your microphone is muted so you can sing enthusiastically and energetically to welcome in this beautiful new spring day we've received. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett. My name is Jan Taddeo. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. It is my great joy and tremendous privilege to serve our faith as the minister of this congregation. I'm so glad that you're all here today and we can be together in this way this morning. Thank you for being here. If you have a chalice at home to light in a few minutes, please make sure you have that ready when we do our chalice lighting. Welcome. We arrive from many places and many life experiences as we gather in this cherished space to recall our true selves, reflect on the meaning of our lives, and explore questions of ultimacy together. We are people who are new to Unitarian Universalism and people who are lifelong Unitarian Universalists. We are people of many religious beliefs and spiritual practices. We affirm and promote the responsible search for truth and meaning. We are people of many genders, sexualities, ethnicities, origins, ages, shapes, sizes, and expressions of our true selves. We affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We are people of all ages and family structures, and we each bring gifts, talents, and passions that serve to affirm and promote communities with peace, liberty, and justice for all. We are people of covenant who engage with one another in ways that promote and affirm justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. We are people who care deeply for our planet and understand we are inextricably and profoundly connected with the web of all existence. We are people who welcome all who are seeking a community of faith that welcomes your whole self, all that you were, all that you are, all that you yearn to be. And you are just where you should be, in a room full of compassionate and thoughtful Unitarian Universalists, ready to meet you where you are. You are welcome here. You are home. If you are a newcomer this morning, we welcome you and hope you will indeed find your spiritual home here with us. We are becoming a radically welcoming sanctuary in a green space. We foster spiritual growth as we joyfully nurture connections and community within our walls and beyond. If this is your first time here, I encourage you to join us several times to experience the full flavor of this congregation and this faith tradition. Come and be curious, courageous, and compassionate with us. And now let's all arrive more fully and bring every molecule of our being to this space. Let's take a deep breath together. And now as sound vibrates through us and around us, let it remind us that though we are in different places right now, we are inextricably and profoundly interconnected with one another, with all of life on this planet, with all the stars in the cosmos. We are one. Our opening words this morning come from the Reverend Eric Kamenetsky. Welcome. Welcome to this moment. It's the only moment we have. I am grateful you chose to spend it with us because this moment is different when you're here. When you're here, it's better. When you're here, this becomes a moment of community, a moment in community. You know, it's been a challenging year, what with the pandemic and all the politics and the weather. It's been a challenging year because we've had to figure out how to be together when we're apart. And we've had to stay apart in order to be together and stay well. But being apart itself makes it harder to be well. Nonetheless, we have carried on long enough and well enough to be here now. So welcome to this moment. And let's light our chalices together with words from Suzelle Lynch, entitled, "We Renew Our Commitment." Each time we light the chalice, we renew our commitment to our Unitarian Universalist faith. With the spark of a match, we make it new again, as fresh and surprising as the first day we encountered the spiritual community and realized we were home. Welcome. And now it's time for our Wonderbox. I wonder what's in our Wonderbox this morning. Let's take a look. Okay. It is a photo, and I'll have to bring it closer so you can see it. This is a photo of our congregation from a few years ago. We've had a practice the last several years of taking a photo, usually in October, of everyone in the congregation, our family photo. And we weren't able to do that this year, although we've taken a few screenshots now and then, but that's our beloved UUCG community. And I want to tell a story about community that it's actually not my story. It's Layla Ibrahim's story. Layla Ibrahim is a Unitarian Universalist who is in Oakland, California. And these are her words, called Messy and Imperfect Beloved Community. And she says, "I have been going to the same church for a very long time. For nearly 30 years, most Sundays, I have walked through our beautiful redwood doors. In all those years, I have filled a variety of leadership positions, from owl teacher to board president, usher coordinator to stewardship co-chair, and in all those years, my congregation has had ample opportunity to disappoint me. I am disappointed when people don't think my justice project is the one we should collectively work on. I am disappointed when people want different music than I do. I'm disappointed that we don't all agree that our children's ministry is the most important priority in the church. I am disappointed that people don't give enough time, talent, or treasure to the church as I do. I am disappointed, well, you get the idea. In nearly 30 years of relationship, there have been lots of disappointments. 2 or 3 times over the years, I have been so disappointed that I seriously questioned remaining in my congregation. I have wondered if church is actually real. I have doubted its ability to provide the salvation of which we speak. Lived, beloved community. On those occasions, I have thought, forget it. I can just stop going to church for a while or forever. But staying away has never helped me through such times. Rather, coming in closer, listening, telling people about my spiritual crisis, sharing, caring, and worshiping have helped me know that this is where I belong, even when church is the source of my frustration and disappointment. Because we are not in church to be with people who want to sing the same music, or rally for the same cause, or attend the same retreats. We are in church to learn to love better. And learning to love better can only happen when we love past our disappointments and return to a place of acceptance and affirmation. This is true in our personal lives, in our work lives, and in our church lives. It is a deep spiritual practice. At my best, as a religious person, as a Unitarian Universalist, as a member of this First Unitarian Church of Oakland, I am called to love whoever else walks through these doors. I don't need to like everyone. Not everyone is who I would choose for a friend. Not everyone agrees about what we are here to do. But if I am living up to my best values, I offer care and respect and commitment to each member, friend, and guest of my beloved community. In the end, we can all try our best to live out our faith as Unitarian Universalists through study, conversation, service, and commitment. We forgive ourselves and forgive others as we stumble through. We disagree, we annoy, we flake out on one another, and we worship, we support, we hold, and we affirm one another. There is really only one choice between imperfect community and no community. Again and again, we are called to choose to commit ourselves to building a more just, more diverse, and yet ever messy and imperfect beloved community. Now let us sing together Break Not the Circle by Fred Kahn and Thomas Benjamin.
Good morning. I'm Doug Beers, a member of the UUCG Endowment Fund Board of Directors. St. Patrick's Day will mark the 30th birthday of our spacious building, and during our Founders Day service on May 2nd this year, we will celebrate the 40th anniversary of the founding of our congregation. At each stage of our growth, we have asked our members to make a commitment to their future. I realize that most of you were not members when our land was purchased in 1987 or when the building was built in 1991. But it's very important that you know how we came to have the land and the building. Our members put their collective faith in our future and pledged to a capital fund drive, and many members made loans from their IRAs or their children's college funds to accomplish those goals. 5 years after we moved into the building, we were still paying off those loans, and our budgets were squeezed to the limit. Money was tight, but 5 of us, Wes Allen, Ken Ilo, Larry Long, Sharon Stepler, and I realized that we needed to commit to the long-term financial picture for the congregation's future. In 1997, we formed the UUCG Endowment Fund, incorporated as a separate nonprofit organization whose purpose was to look to the future financial needs of the congregation. So that brings me to the current endowment fund campaign, 40 for 40. We've come to realize that many of you weren't aware that we have an endowment fund, or were not aware of what the endowment fund actually does. In essence, we operate a long-term savings account that can never be used for ordinary operating costs of the congregation. The funds come from gifts, honorariums, memorials, bequests, and mostly from our birthday club plan, where people make a donation each year based on their age at their birthday. The fund has grown to a little over $75,000, with most of the funds invested for growth in the UUA Common Endowment Fund in Boston. So what do we do with that money? By 2008, we had grown enough principal to begin making grants based on the previous year's income back to UUCG. Each year, we have made a grant to help with the costs for our General Assembly delegates or to help with the cost of leadership development. In 2019, our bylaws allowed us to make a loan of $25,000 to UUCG to help pay the cost of the septic system expansion. We ran a special fundraising campaign in 2012 to purchase the Memorial Gardens granite obelisk, and we managed maintenance of that area. The obelisk now holds the names of 18 of our deceased members. So today, on behalf of the Endowment Fund, I'm asking you to make a commitment to our congregation's future with a $40 or more contribution in honor of UUCG's 40th anniversary. Our campaign will run through March and April, and each $40 donor will receive a commemorative 40th anniversary mug featuring artwork by our own Katrina Yurko. They look something like this. And on the back will be the building. We've already received a number of checks, but I want to take a moment to tell you about one very special donation. Dennis and Gail Huffington sent in a contribution for the $40 for 40 campaign, but they also included an additional $74 to mark the 74th anniversary of their dedication as children at age 2 and 6 in 1947 at the UU Church in Rockford, Illinois. They've attended many UU churches all over the country in their life travels. This is just one reason we need to continue providing a strong congregation in Lawrenceville, Georgia. You can mail a check directly to me at the address in our directory, or if you prefer to donate electronically, you can use the UUCG Venmo or PayPal method and just specify it's for the Endowment Fund campaign. Pat and I have now been members of UUCG for 35 years. We've watched this church grow from meeting in temporary rental space to meeting today in our member-built building. We have 2 grown daughters who are veterans of a strong religious education program and who have bonded with lifelong friends with whom they shared our powerful coming of age and our whole lives programs. Over the years, our family has made friends, been sustained by and received support from this community as we encountered a few personal challenges along the way. We're very grateful for a welcoming place in Gwinnett where each of us, no matter what our faith background, could worship and share our common exploration of spirituality together. So I hope you'll see why our current endowment fund board, Dave Avert, Amy Gilroy, Steve Smith, Barbara Stanky, and I all urge you to commit to our shared future by participating in the 40 for 40 campaign. The endowment fund will continue to support the good work of UUCG so that other families that have yet to discover us will have the same opportunities.
And now let us sing together. And thank you, Doug. Thank you, Doug, for a wonderful presentation. Let us sing together From You I Receive by Joseph and Nathan Segal. So our theme this month is commitment. And we kind of carry forward the beloved community from last month to the commitment theme of this month. And I just first want to acknowledge that it's been a year. It's been a year. It's been a hard year. It's been a strange year. We are persevering, sometimes enthusiastically, sometimes because there really isn't much other choice. But here we are, still together, still here. And next Sunday, we'll be having a special service, special in two ways. One, we will honor the 1-year anniversary of the shutting down of congregations around the world for the pandemic. And we will also be celebrating a new Unitarian Universalist holiday that was developed a few years ago called Luminescence. And it's a lovely, lovely service. So please come and join us for that. And next weekend, you'll all receive some a renewal bag at your home. Once I find the people, recruited all the people who are going to deliver them. So watch for that call, or let me know if you want to do that. So we'll have renewal bags, and there'll be some things in there related to luminescence also. So I'm excited about that. How have we gotten through this year? Commitment. Absolute, deep commitment on behalf of the members and leaders of this congregation. Deep commitment. That's how we have persevered. I don't know when it was or where it was, but somewhere along the way in all my various courses and studies and reading and workshops and stuff, I was given the idea that our commitments are known by our deeds, by what we do, not by what we say. So I can say I'm really committed to losing 15 pounds and then go eat the box of ice cream. So my commitment is in comforting myself rather than losing those pounds. Kind of a minor sort of example. But if you look at that in a larger scope of what we say we're committed to, whether it's in our own lives personally or in our communities, in our country, we've seen some real disconnect between what we say this country is committed to and what we actually do. So those are some places to look. But within our community, our congregation, I am so impressed by the commitment. People have been showing up on Sunday mornings, showing up to our various programs, taking part in covenant groups and belief explorations and Gust and the cups and Sylvan Sanctuary and religious exploration and all the things that we're offering. People are showing up, and it's so good. People are checking in with each other. You know, between the pastoral care team, which is a small group of about 6 people, and myself, we can't check in on everyone. We know who isn't able to join us on Sundays because they don't have the technology, so we check in with them and we try to pay attention to the people who are going through especially tough times. But just checking in with each other just because is great. And I know you've been doing that. I hear the stories of people just checking in on each other. And if you haven't, just think you're thinking of somebody, just drop them a text or give them a call or send them a note in the mail. People have been helping out in all kinds of ways. When this started, we made hundreds and hundreds of masks, and we were a depot for people to drop off masks in the Gwinnett County. We really showed up for that. We're showing up for the food drive. We're bringing hundreds of pounds of food to the Lawrenceville Cooperative Ministries. We raised over $1,300 to support the families of the Corley Elementary School who are living on the edge. We are showing up, showing our commitment to caring for one another and for our wider community. And yet, of course, we are a messy, imperfect community. People are disappointed at times. Maybe things don't go the way you hoped. Maybe somebody flaked out and didn't do what they said they would do. Usually we're really good at talking with one another about that and sharing our concern or the impact of someone's words or actions or non-actions. We're pretty good about cleaning things up. Sometimes people get disappointed and just quietly leave, and that's always a disappointment to me because I love the opportunity to have a conversation about whatever's disappointing you. And I love when people come to me and say, hey, this is a challenge, or this isn't working, or whatever, and I can listen and hear what's going on for them. But within this messy, imperfect, beloved community, Leila Ibrahim reminds us that our primary role is to learn to love. Learn to love better, deeper, more, wider, broader. Learning to love better. Learning to love ourselves better. Learning to love our neighbors better. Learning to draw our circle wide so no one is outside the circle of love. And I suggest that this is a very countercultural concept, that we are a community that wants to draw the circle wider and wider, to be a truly multicultural, multifaceted, multi-identity congregation. Because we know that each person is actually quite unique. And all of these constructs that have taught us to separate ourselves, to think about being with people who are just like me, are not helpful. They don't help us to create the world that we dream of. People come to religious communities seeking not just to become more whole within themselves and not just to connect with other people, but to have a real sense of purpose and meaning, to find ways to have their lives mean something. A faith community is a long-haul, grand experiment. Always tweaking, always learning, always shifting and changing. And that can be hard. It isn't static. It doesn't stay the same all the time. People come and go. Imagine our New England congregations, some of them 400 years old, who have been taking care of generations and generations of families and people seeking this life-saving faith. 40 years. This year we turned 40. That's great. It's amazing. We are drawing this circle wide for generations to come. We are drawing a circle so wide that it can it creates a religiously pluralistic space where there's so many ways of thinking about the divine and the purpose of life, the meaning of life. We draw a circle wide for atheists, humanists, agnostics, deists, theists, earth-relating practices. We are broad in our scope of how we find truth and meaning. And we come together in places like our Sunday morning religious exploration programs and in our once a month belief explorations, and GUST, Gwinnett Understanding Secular Truths. We come to these places to share our ideas and to learn from one another and to broaden our mind, not to be set in our beliefs, not to be convinced that ours is the only truth, but to open up and be curious about other ideas and other ways of seeing things. This is a commitment we make as a faith community to this unknown future of a congregation. We don't know who will be here in another 40 years or 80 years or 120 years. We are shaping what this will be, that what people inherit from us. So what do we do today to shape that future? Well, our focus right now has been primarily on the aspect of our vision on radical welcome and green space. Although connecting within and beyond and spiritual growth are deeply wound up in those two things. Developing a radically welcoming community is really countercultural. And so I invite you to think about what you might be holding that's keeping you back from widening your circle of love. Are you uncertain about this continuum of gender identity? I know I was when I first learned about this. I was raised that there are boys and girls, men and women, binary. There's only two choices, chocolate or vanilla, whatever. And yet, you know, there's Baskin Robbins with 31 flavors, right? That's how people are. We are all different and unique. And we've learned that gender has a continuum. And there are ways to learn more about that. We've been, several people, I think about 20 people went through the Transgender Inclusion in Congregations program recently, and we're going to be offering that again in May. So look for the sign-ups coming up later this month and in April to join that. Maybe you're uncomfortable with the language in our culture now and in our congregations about white privilege, white fragility, white supremacy culture. In the February newsletter, I offered some resources for learning more about these things, to read, to go to workshops, to watch videos, to check out the resources that are available, not just within our congregation, but in the broader network of anti-racist materials. Find what works for you. Find things that open your mind, not just works for you as a mistake. Find things that challenge you. Find things that make you think differently and open up your mind and heart. And we are in the process now of the lay ministers and I, primarily Barbara Stanke, of what will be the anti-racism program that we offer here over the next month or so to bring us together in that conversation. And that will be introduced soon. And our other big commitment is green space. We are very concerned for our planet, for the health of our planet, for its sustainability, for the sustainability of life and humanity on this planet. It begins at home. This care for our earth begins at home. And we need to care for our property. We don't hire big landscaping companies to come out and do things. We don't spray poisons on our yard or any of that. We want to take care of our property free of insecticides, promote pollinators, promote a healthy environment in our land. And it takes people to come together to do that, to pull weeds and to trim bushes. And we have projects inside that we need to do too, to help our space be more green and energy efficient, and also just to look good for when we come back, because indeed we will come back. So all of this takes commitment. All of this takes deep love for and passion for this idea of a faith community that can open its arms so wide and be so bold in this time of separation and discourse and discord and all this challenging stuff that's going on. We can be a place that models something new and different. And I call you to that deep commitment of doing that work, continuing that deep commitment. And if you are already doing a lot, thank you. And if you are looking for things to do, reach out and ask. We can help you get connected to something meaningful for your growth and support. Reverend Mary Catherine Morin said this really well about building for our future in a poem that Jason Shelton put to music. She said, "When we live with deep commitment, our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin." Thank you. Okay. Pardon the rattling of paper. I invite us now into a time of prayer and meditation, reflection, quiet. Take a deep breath and just have a moment of stillness. And then I'll offer this pastoral prayer, Web of Holy Relationships by Lynn Cox. Take a breath. Spirit of life, who draws us together in a web of holy relationships, make your presence known with us and in us and among us. Remind us that we are not alone in history. Ignite us with the courage of the living tradition. Remind us that we are not alone in entering the future. Anchor us with patience and perseverance. Remind us that we are not alone in our times of grief and pain. Comfort us with your Spirit, manifest in human hands and voices. Remind us that we are not alone in joy and wonder. Inspire us to honor and extend the beauty we find in this world. Divine music of the universe, let our hearts beat in diverse and harmonious rhythms, cooperating with an everlasting dance of love. May we move with the rhythms of peace. May we move with the rhythms of compassion. May we move with the rhythms of justice. Source of stars and planets and water and land, open our hearts to all our neighbors. Open our souls to a renewal of faith. Open our hands to join together in the work ahead. So be it. Blessed be. Amen. And now we sing together Open My Heart by Henry S. Fleury. Our congregation is committed to creating a more compassionate world. To this end, each quarter we split our plate collection with an organization selected by our Give Away the Plate committee based on nominations from people in the congregation. Our first quarter plate recipient is Beyond the Ribbon, a Gwinnett-based organization advocating for support and resources beyond the diagnosis of cancer to educate, inspire hope, cultivate awareness, and empower individuals. Beyond the Ribbon volunteers educate, support, and provide resources to patients and their families, and offer various initiatives to increase community support for people living with cancer. Our plate contributions also support the shared ministry of this congregation, so I ask that you please give generously to support the work of this important ministry in our wider community, as well as the vision and mission of this congregation. As we listen to a recording of our pianist Brian Bishop playing Lamb by William Grant Steele, you will see on the screen ways to contribute to our offering via PayPal, Venmo, or by mailing a check payable to UUCG to the address shown. And as Doug mentioned, this is also a way that you can contribute to the endowment fund, making sure you mark your contribution either as pledge, plate, or endowment. If you are worshiping with us for the first time, your presence here today is a great gift to this congregation, and you may choose to let the plate pass. The offering will now be most gratefully received. May the generous gifts we receive this week move us towards realizing our vision of a more connected and compassionate world. I want to express some gratitude today. I am grateful for Doug Beers for sharing his reflection this morning and his very long-time commitment to the health and financial security of our congregation. Doug, you're a true treasure to our congregation. Also very grateful to some other treasures, Don Graff, Harry Felice, Ben Lauer, Ed and Mac Miller, Larry Long, and for their work on repairing our entrance sidewalk. And I probably missed some people who helped with that, so let me know in the chat if you worked on it too, or if I missed somebody. Also very grateful for Tony Nastri for managing the Zoom room this morning, and Russ Taddeo for running video and sound. And now is the time for our call to connection. To stay strong and vital in our commitment for this community, we need to seek ways to connect between Sundays. If you are new to our congregation, I invite you to text welcoming to the number on the screen to receive a few texts and emails for a few weeks to guide you in connecting. We won't overwhelm you with these messages. You can also look at the kinds of things that we're offering at our website, and there's a register for events button on the middle right side of our website where you can look at things that are happening and sign up for some things. And you can receive our weekly e-news by going to info@uucg.org, an email to that address, and ask to be added to our mailing list. Thank you. And also, if you're new, or if you've been coming for a long time and you're interested in maybe falling in love with your congregation again, or Unitarian Universalist all over again, consider signing up for our first Starting Point program. We have like 2 slots left, so sign up today if you can. This program invites newcomers and current members to gather 4 times in a small group ministry model to journey together in exploring Unitarian Universalism, making and deepening connections with new people, and engaging in congregational life in meaningful ways. There are 4 sessions, each right now 1 hour, though the participants will be asked whether an hour is enough. 4 sessions, Sunday, March 14th. It starts next Sunday at 2 o'clock. And then every other Sunday ending on April 25th. Barbara Stanke and Katrina Yurko will facilitate this first-time program. And again, just a couple spaces left, so please sign up. Our food collection is the first Sunday of every month, so that's today from 2 to 4. I believe Lydia's there this week to receive your donations for Lawrenceville Cooperative Ministry. On the screen, you'll see the things that are most needed right now, but anything is helpful, anything you can bring. We are also still needing people to give platelets. Thank you very much for doing that. We've had a lot of people do it. Keep it coming. Our dear beloved member Terry is getting platelets still every week, several times a week. So we need to make sure that supply is steady. And we aren't the only ones giving, but every donation really matters. And then some ways to engage for your search for truth and meaning this week. There are monthly reflections on our themes. You go to this link, and you can find this in our e-news as well. Link to fill out a Padlet. It's cool. It's like a little whiteboard where you can put your ideas down. How does UUCG increase your commitment to creating beloved community is the question this month. And now, tomorrow night, Gwinnett Understanding Secular Truths, GUST, is offering a program on conspiracy theories for a conversation. And next Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon at 12:30, Belief Exploration takes place. Daniel Bailey did a great presentation last month, and he's doing part 2 this month. And if you didn't come to part 1, it's okay. Come to part 2. It'll be good. We also offer a Spiral Scouts with the Earth-Centered Scouting program for families with children ages 3 to 12. So check out our website to learn more about that. And our religious exploration program for elementary school-age children is available on Sunday afternoons. If you haven't registered your children for the program yet, please do so. All our programs for children require registration, including Spiral Scouts and elementary religious exploration, in order to gain access. We're returning, we finished the Lego program, and this month we're returning to cartoons using the short films of Pixar animation to explore Unitarian Universalist values. We have adult religious exploration on Sundays at 10 a.m. You'll see we have small group conversations on commitment, different ways of looking at our monthly theme. Bill Benshoff will be leading that program next week. There are several opportunities to connect on a regular basis. In addition to what I've already shared, our choir gets together every Tuesday night for check-in and to talk about the projects, the virtual choir projects we're working on. We have Yarns from the Heart on first and third Wednesdays, and Courageous Coffee House, where people can share their poetry and music and other creativity. And Women's Spirituality on second Fridays, and Exploring Tarot with Sherry on Sunday afternoons at 4. Our 40 for 40 will be running for 2 months, as Doug said, March and April. We're asking for these contributions, and on May, the first Sunday in May, we'll have a big celebration of our founding on Founders Day and celebrate the gifts that people have offered. So please keep that in mind. Give more if you can. Not everyone can give 40. If you can give 10 or 20, that's great. Or for the number of years you've been a member, or for whatever. Just support our endowment. Please rise with me to say together the words we say as we extinguish our chalice, followed by our closing song, Fire of Commitment by Jason Shelton. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
When the
If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting world. Our service has ended, and now our service to one another and the wider community begins. Spirits renewed.